Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. I made a poll recently of videos that you want me to do, and I'm actually going to do both of them. I just wanted to see which one you guys would prefer to see first. So yeah, this is the what's in my iPad / how I use my iPad for college. There will be timestamps down below so you guys can skip to the part of the video that you want to see. So yeah, I don't think this video needs much of an intro. Let's just get right to it. Okay, so starting off with the specs of my iPad, I have the iPad 7. It's the one with the 10.5-inch screen, and I got it in rose gold and in 32 gigabytes. For my case, I have a black trifold case that has a little space for my Apple Pencil, and it's from Shopee. I have this paper-like dupe screen protector. Honestly, I think it's just a regular matte screen protector, but it's also from Shopee, so there we have it. Starting with my lock screen, this is a scene from the movie Whisper of the Heart. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. I would recommend you to watch it. So yeah. And then for my home screen wallpaper, I have a picture of Howl and Sophie. I also happen to really like Howl's Moving Castle. Both my lock screen and my wallpaper are by an artist named Edward Chi. I will link his ArtStation account down below so you guys can check out all his other artworks. With the new iOS 14 update, you can add those new widgets on your iPad as well. But right now, I just prefer to have my Google Calendar and the batteries widget because those are the two that I refer to the most. Starting off with the first row of apps that I have, I'm just gonna go ahead and skip the generic or the default apps that come with the iPad because we already know what those do. So the first app that I'm going to be sharing with you is my Google Calendar. I love Google Calendar because it syncs really well throughout all my devices, and it's just really easy to use. I like the interface and everything. Google Calendar runs my life. If it's not on my Google Calendar, it's probably not happening. Moving on to the next row of apps that I have Books, which is a default app, but I really like Books because this is how I store all my college textbooks and pleasure reading books, you know. The next app that I have is Google Drive. My university gives us unlimited storage with Google Drive, so I find that since we are online this semester, storing everything in the cloud storage rather than my hard drive has been a lot easier. And then we have my Notion app. I don't really use the Notion app here on my iPad. I mainly use it on my laptop because it's always open there, but I have it here just in case I need to check on anything else that I have due, or I don't know, I made a script for myself that I want to read through my iPad, I guess. Next to that, I have my student portal, which is our college or university app. I use it to check my grades. Fun. And then Blackboard is our cloud campus, I guess. It's where my professors give their lectures sometimes or their materials. Do I love Blackboard? Not really, but it's there. And then I have Messenger, mainly for convenience. I think it's really awkward to use Messenger on the iPad. And then the last row of apps that I have are actually folders. So the first one being my utilities folder. It's not really interesting. I guess some notable apps here are my IPA keyboard, which if you are in the same course as I am, or I don't know, in a linguistic course, maybe you already know what it is, but it's actually super helpful, especially with transcriptions. This one is really nice because one, it's free, and then it also has your diacritics. My next folder has all my other school-related apps, so Google Meet, Zoom, Files, which is also another default app that allows you to access your iCloud files, and then Google Docs and Google Sheets. I have a lot of Google apps. And then the very last folder that I have has my Fonto app, Sketchbook, Google Photos, and Photos. These are mainly for my thumbnails. And then finally on my dock, I have Gmail, Spotify, Safari, Microsoft Word, and GoodNotes 5. First, let's start with the accessories that I also use with my iPad. The first being my first gen Apple Pencil, and the next one is my keyboard, which connects to my iPad via Bluetooth. Moving on to the apps that I use, I mainly use Google Mail, Blackboard, Microsoft Word, and GoodNotes 5. GoodNotes 5 is pretty pricey, that's why I bought mine through an Instagram shop that sells it for a lot cheaper. If you want to get it where I got it from, I'll link it down below. And then for my cloud storages, I use Google Drive and OneDrive. A quick disclaimer before we officially start, I do not solely rely on my iPad for all my college needs. Yes, I do use it quite a lot and rely on it a good amount, but I use this iPad alongside my laptop mainly because that is what my course requires. I have applications on my laptop that I cannot access using my iPad and vice versa. What I will show you is my system of how I was able to use these two materials in helping me not necessarily be a better student, but work more efficiently in trying to be one. So, besides the usual watching lectures, tutorials, and all that other fun stuff, I will be showing you how I use my iPad in the two prominent ways classes are being delivered during our online semester. The first being during our async classes, and the next being my synchronous classes. Okay, so for my asynchronous classes, or classes where I don't have to be in a call with my professor, the first thing I would do is access my materials via Gmail or Blackboard, depending on where they sent it. The next thing I would usually do is make a Google Drive folder. I usually do this on my laptop, but since we're only focusing on my iPad today, I'll try to do everything through my iPad. And then, depending on the material given to me that day, if I have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation, I would open it as a PDF copy directly to GoodNotes. But if I'm only given a video recording of the lesson that day, I would open a copy of my notes template to Microsoft Word. You can obviously choose what note-taking app you want to use, but the reason why I like using Word is because it's one of the perks that my college email gets me, and I want to make sure that I use all my perks this year because tuition is still hella expensive. So, I make templates for my note-taking mainly because I want to keep all my notes looking the same. It's a personal preference. The reason why I type my notes rather than write them down is because I type faster than I write. Literally, I write super slow. So if I want to finish my lecture in a day, I'd opt to type it instead. Although, one downside to typing really fast is that I have a tendency of transcribing what the professor is saying rather than getting the key points in the lecture, at least in my experience. So one thing I'm really trying to practice, especially during async classes, is just typing down key concepts so I don't end up passively finishing another lecture with transcribed notes. Once I have my notes done, this is usually backed up automatically in my OneDrive, which is, Microsoft's cloud storage. So I access my saved notes through that. But because I don't have OneDrive on my iPad, I have to use my laptop for it and then access and then download my notes from that. I would download the Word document as well as save it as a PDF. The Word document I would save in the Google Drive folder we made earlier, and then the PDF version I would send to my iPad to then open to GoodNotes. Once in my GoodNotes app, this is where I would go over my notes one more time and write down as much as I can remember about the lecture without actually, referring to the recorded lecture. Finally, once I have my annotated version of my notes done, I would save a PDF copy of that to my Google Drive folder that we made earlier in this video. I know this process seems a bit repetitive, but it works for me. Like, it helps me learn the concepts and lessons that I'm being given this online semester, and it's also keeping me organized in such a way that it makes it easier for me to refer to things in the future. For my synchronous classes, the concept is basically the same, but instead of downloading my materials, I attend class. One thing I like doing, especially for synchronous classes, since most of my synchronous classes now are demo classes of how to conduct patient assessment or assessment techniques, I like opening a copy of the form that I would have to fill up during the actual assessment on my iPad and answer them through there. GoodNotes has this option that if you pull up or swipe up, it would duplicate the existing page or insert a blank page. This allows me to duplicate the form however many times I would need for my demo class that day. In turn, this allows me to save paper because I no longer have to print any of my forms unless I really need to. So after all of this, I then again just save it all in my Google Drive. Hey everyone, so I'm currently editing this video and I realized that I didn't make an outro for it, so I just wanted to come here really quickly and say that I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!